All right, here we are in the building episode 29. Say that again. Hi, everybody. Here we are in building episode 29. This is going to be a Minmas base. I'm going to call it Pentabase because I think it's a 5-person base. Supporting at least 5 Kerbals. A new outpost must be built for this and maintain stability for 10 seconds. Yep. We're going to build a outpost that has power, an antenna, and a docking port. And it's going to be a surface outpost, so let's go ahead and think about what we're going to do. The lander can holds 2 crew. The cupola holds 1. So we could do something like this. That would be a sufficient base. Or we could do something a little bit more interesting. Maybe? Utility. The hitchhiker storage has 4 crew. And I think that is actually the same size as 2 of those other things stuck together. And then on top of that, we can stick a couple of. And is that actually the same size as this lander can? Yes, it is. What's the mass of that thing? Mass 2.5 pods. 2.66. Yeah, so this is actually going to be lighter. So in the mathematics, if you've ever taken a look at the if you've ever taken a look at the mathematics for the total delta V, the full to empty mass ratio really makes a huge difference on what your delta V is going to be. And it basically the mathematics say the more dead weight or the more dry mass you can get rid of to start off with, the better you're going to be overall. So that's kind of why I'm doing this. This is 1.8. It requires electrical charge. It has monoprop. It has a reaction wheel. So this is actually a cockpit. So we can use this for the part of the landing stage. And this is going to be a base. Then it's going to need landing wheels. Utility. I'm getting a lot of utility stuff now. Try to rotate this around the right way. There we go. 4 of those. Those are the wrong way around. Okay, that's how those go. Engines. Now this thing isn't going to need anything particularly large, although, since this is a base, we're going to send 3 Kerbals out there. We could just do this really simply as a one-way trip. If I did that, I would need some fuel. That's mass 2. What's this thing? Mass 0.1. That's a 390 vacuum ISP, which is really good. This one also has a 390 vacuum ISP. For Moon, all we're really going to need is that guy. I'm pretty sure. So now, how much juice, how much fuel do I want this landing thing to have? That much? That's an awful lot. This much? Then I have room under here for other stuff. Can bring these landing gear up significantly, like so. And it does need to have power and an antenna, so let's pack on a couple of these 2x3s and just do this kind of thing right there. A docking. Oh, it needs a docking port. It needs a docking port. That's all right. We can stick a docking port right there. And power, a docking port, and an antenna. So that's under science, where my antennas are heading. Yes. These ladders don't need to be symmetrical. They can go like so. And we'll put an antenna right there for transmission of whatever it is that antennas need to transmit. Kind of like the idea of the solar panels being there for some reason. Okay, now let's take a rudimentary look at this craft here. 360. So 9.8 to 5.8 to 5.8 is actually a pretty good full to empty mass ratio. I wish I had that chart handy that I had printed off, because then I could really quickly figure this out. Hang on one second. Okay, so I'm grabbing my handy dandy phone, and I'm gonna flip it over to scientific. Yes. All right. So it was 9.8 and 5.8. So this thing holds 1,000. I've always wondered. Anyway, 9.8 divided by 5.8 gives me 1.6896 something or other. Natural log of that gives me 0.524. Did I do that right? Wait a second. 9.8 clear 9.8 divided by 5.8. Yeah, 1.689. Okay, natural log times, and 390 is the ISP for this particular engine, times 9.6 gives us 1,963 delta V. And then if I don't have one of those charts printed off, but hang on. Okay, according to this chart that I'm going to show up on the screen somewhere, is this is plenty of delta V to leave Kerbal, basically plan an intercept for Minmas and land on Minmas and probably take off and return if I really wanted to. So this lander should be more than capable of getting all the way to Minmas on its own. All we really need to do is, we'll pack on a little bit of more stuff here, but want to be really careful because I don't remember any additional dry mass we add at this point is going to impact its ability to be efficient. So we'll just put a couple batteries down here underneath that thing. We could put on more fuel, giving it a little bit more delta V. This thing isn't going to land, isn't going to return to Kerbal at all. It's going to have a docking port on top, which will make for some interesting landing configurations later on, but you know what? Who cares? It is actually ready to toggle flag. I want to retract these things. Get those up for the old landing. And I bet since this ship might be light enough where these landing gear will be sufficient. Because they're at half the mass. So that would be our Minmas lander, Minmas base right there. Like thus. Okay, now all I need is something that's able to put this thing into orbit. And I know for a fact that I already have my heavy lifter, which is going to be plenty of heavy lifting for this thing. In fact, this is overkill. I'm only making $250,000 in funds off of this, so I will make a purpose-built purpose-built ascent vehicle for this thing. Utility, I need a staging decoupler, staging. Structural. To put right there. Adapterize. Fuel tanks. One orange. I'm thinking for this one, the engines I said, we won't need a mainsail. We can just use the skipper. And we will take ourselves, see the skipper has gimbal and everything, so we'll take ourselves some, one thing that could be really useful. These cost next to nothing in mass, so I'm going to put 4 of these guys on right here. That'll help us illuminate the dark side of Minmas if we choose to land there, or at nighttime when we get there. And I will increase our battery mass to 4. Okay. So that's the lander, here's the lifter. We're going to go ahead and set up some asparagus on this with some another thing I could do that's kind of unique. Actually, well, I'll do it some other launch. What am I looking for? Kind of going crazy. Looking for these. Fuel tanks. Aerodynamic. Put some aerodynamic nose cones on there. I know that they don't do us any good right now, but we need to get in the habit of making sure we continue to do that, because when the next version of Kerbal Space Program comes out, aerodynamically built rockets will make a lot of difference. Now, fuel lines, which is in here, go from there to there, or more accurately, from here to here, and also from here to there. And under structural, we will need some space tape, just to make sure all these boosters are nice and stable. And that should do there, and we will go ahead and add the same in here 4 times symmetry, just like so. And we set up our staging. All engines are on. The first pair of decouplers should be these guys. Yep. And then those guys, because that's the last one to go. And then we're on our lander. That's pretty much it. Not much else needs to be done on that. So we'll head on back to the episode and get this launched. Thanks for watching. So I realized one thing I should probably add that would make my life a little easier, launching this whole thing, is, you know, just that, to hold it off the ground. So once again, back to the episode. Oh yeah, and I loaded it up with crew. So I've got Bob Kerman flying, a scientist. Oh, hang on. I need to go to the astronaut complex. Well, I'll crew this vessel independently back in the episode. So yeah. Hang tight for that. Thanks for watching. Staging's all wrong. Fix that. Now save the craft. Now back to the episode. Oh, goodness.